Android. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know about you. When VMware acquired Frango, it was last November, and I thought that the reason for putting a hypervisor on a handset, to me, I just thought so we had operating system portability. I was thinking it was more about just so that people making an operating system could support more devices instead of running two operating systems side by side. But yeah, it seems pretty interesting. I guess they'll do things transparent pass-through. You have to pass through the GPS in the phone and the actual calling system. It's weird if you call waiting and it's a work call versus a home call and things like that. But and I guess I don't know how they deal with SIM cards. Because you have two OSs, that's one thing. But can that phone hold two SIM cards? Does anyone know?
Actually, it can't make a phone call.
Oh, interesting.
I went down to his booth and said, well, nice device, looks cool. Can it actually make a phone call? No, not yet.
So can everyone hear that? The comment was that is it just the second operating system cannot?
No, the device cannot make any.
The device cannot make a phone call at this point. So what you have, and it's funny, in these days of netbooks, we haven't started, come on in. In these days of these netbooks, it's interesting because a netbook costs 300 euros, maybe 400, and probably half the price of that Nokia device, and a lot more speed and more everything, so that's interesting. I thought it was interesting that VMware and we haven't started. Come on, take a seat anywhere. VMware announced their partnership with Intel for the Type 1 client hypervisor, and of course Citrix announced their partnership with Intel for their Type 1 hypervisor. And I don't know if you saw the article we did. I actually asked at the analyst briefing, okay, so doesn't it sound just like Project Independence of Citrix? How is this any different? I mean, of course we expect that, yes, you, VMware, are going to partner with Intel. And I said, well, but we have a much stronger partnership with Intel. For example, we had the people from Intel on stage with us. So I'm thinking, oh, well, so if that shows that how strong your partnership is, I mean, when the VMware press release came out about the Intel hypervisor, they used the word vPro 5 times. But last month, when Citrix released their press release about the Type 1 client hypervisor with Intel, they used the word vPro 6 times. So, I mean, come on, who's more serious about working with Intel here? We have still 5 more minutes before we begin our session, so we're not going to start early until these coming in here. So, yeah. All right, had to go early. All right, so look at this. VDI is the best in the world, in the universe. Yeah, sure thing. So, it's true it's the best in the universe, right? Because remember Microsoft used to have the GUID, globally unique identifier, and they changed a few years ago to the UID, universally unique identifier. And so we're guessing that Microsoft thought, well, I don't know, there may be some aliens out there, and now we have news that our universe could support all these kinds of things. And how embarrassing is it if your class ID of the ActiveX control that you developed yourself is also used by some Martians around, orbiting some other star. And so in order to prevent that we now have universally unique, which I guess that means, these GUIDs, when they're generated, it's based on serial number and timestamp and IP address and MAC address, and it puts all that together into an algorithm that generates the random number based on that. So now maybe, I guess, because more devices have GPSs in them, they can also put your global coordinates in there and seed that with the algorithm, so you don't have any embarrassing times when you're sort of traveling through space and your applications don't work on someone else's planet because you're foolishly reusing the same GUID. So luckily we're past that. So for me, this is my first time to VMworld in Cannes. I guess this is only the second time that VMworld has been here, right? Yeah. And I've always sort of avoided the virtualization events because I'm not really wanting to be a virtualization sort of person. Because virtualization, to me, sound weird, but I think desktops are way more interesting than servers. And, I started out working on the desktop, and I don't know if this is true so much in Europe. It's definitely the case in the US, where most people, I think, start out doing desktop-type work. And in a lot of companies, the desktop group is different from the server group. And so I think every young desktop person looks across the wall with kind of hearts in their eyes at the server people and just thinks, someday I can be one of those server people. And but there's a difference, though, about desktop people and server people. And you know what the difference is? Is that server people have, well, back when I was a desktop person, server people had pagers. Servers have to be up for 24 hours a day. Desktops don't. And it's one of those things, we asked for it, right? So we went through all of our certifications, and my first job, I was answering help desk calls. And how many people here started out on the help desk? Hell yeah, that's right. I mean, and for everyone else, I feel like you didn't earn it until you did help desk. And these are, of course, the days, there was no remote controlling. There was no go to assist and remote viewing. This is the days where, this is where I started drinking coffee. And in those days, you could smoke indoors also. And so you're just like, okay, one more time. Just, is the screen lighting up at all? Is the TV on? And, so it works so hard to get to be a server person and to not have to deal with the desktops. And that was my fucking job again. All that work, and guess what problems I deal with? What are the biggest problems, both VDI and terminal server? What are the biggest problems we deal with, right?
For users.
All right, the winner of the users, yeah. You want to make your job easy. Forget virtualizing servers. Forget virtualizing networks. Man, virtualize the users. Which actually, with our economy, we're making some big strides there. But yeah, so we go back to the VDI and terminal server stuff, and realize the biggest problems. What am I dealing with now? Profiles, printing, application compatibility. It's all the exact same stuff, with the added benefit that if my server goes down at night, I get that priority one email. I have to wake up and fix it. Whereas before, when I was dealing with profiles, at least I could say fuck it and go home at 5 o'clock on Friday and deal with it the next week. But now I can't do that anymore. So our clock says that it's time for us to begin. I see thumbs up from the lady in green back there, so let's hit it.